Men at Work, who can it be now? At Shade Past 9, my guest of the day, it's our series One for the Road, where we're saying, yes, the infrastructure is crumbling in this city, but who's to stop our own habits from crumbling? Our habits on the road, pedestrian habits or driving habits are going from bad to worse. Armin Wandrewala works in this sphere. She runs SOOR, Sanity on Our Roads, and she's our guest of the day.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
I'm very pleased to see you, and it's been a few years. How are you doing, Armin Wandrewala?
Great, Hrishi. Thanks a lot. And I must thank you very fervently for thinking up this fortnight One for the Road. Very much needed.
Well, what else can the sane media do except just spread the word? Now, you do agree with my introduction to this entire talk, saying our habits are crumbling. Shed some light on that.
I not only agree, I absolutely endorse it. And as you're well aware, apart from running SOOR, we are also pursuing a public interest litigation on these issues in the High Court. And every time I address their lordships and their ladyships, my comment is that this is one public interest litigation which is also aimed, in a sense, against the public. Because not only are our habits crumbling, our attitudes, our mindsets. You see, on the roads, you see the faces of the drivers. They're full of aggro. You see the pedestrians. They walk lackadaisically in the middle of the road with the children sometimes on the outside, which is criminal. So, yes, what needs to change is our habits. We are responsible to a very large extent for the mess we are in. Yes, the authorities could do more, but frankly, ever since the pill happened, the authorities have been doing things. The CCTVs that you see on the roads, the increased road markings, etc., are largely due to the pill, the courts, and the activists who are working in this sphere. But unless the public realizes that they have a very, very major role to play, we continue to remain in a mess. Because, yeah.
Now, there are some basic habits. Mm-hmm. Obviously, not to start moving till the lights turn green. Often what happens is that people try to overtake you from the side, try to move ahead because ostensibly they're in a hurry. And you're a firm believer of the fact that unless it's a medical emergency, unless it's an ambulance, that person or should not be allowed to go ahead.
Totally.
And one must firmly point to the light, because people don't seem to be even worried about e-challans anymore.
No, because I don't know, frankly, what is the connectivity. I mean, I hate to say this, but all the cameras that you see up there, I'm not sure how many have the connectivity, how many actually zoom in on the numbers, and how many e-challans are. Yes, e-challans are happening. People are being penalized. But at the end of the day, they say, okay, so fine, we'll pay 1,000 rupee fine. Now, the point about what you said is so important, and that, Hrishi, is linked to honking. Trust me, I'm totally against honking. At the same time, the problem is, if the nutcase next to you, and especially on your left, tries to butt in or overtake you from the left dangerously, you have no choice but to honk in protest and in warning. What's happening of late is that, we say that give each other space. You try to leave some space between the cars. Some guy will come from the left. He will literally gusav in between the space you've left between the two cars, and he'll try to maneuver his way even when there's no space. What's happening is our 2-lane roads are turning into 3, sometimes even 4, because forget bikes, even cars want to squeeze into every available space, and I don't know whether they really get any time, because within 2 minutes they have to stop.
Correct. You always meet the idiots.
Yes.
In the next signal, and in all probability, it's really the hare and the tortoise. You will reach, if you and him are going in the same direction.
Yeah.
You will reach before him or her. That's the way it happens. More with Armin Wandrewala right after this. If you have any thoughts on driver or pedestrian etiquettes, you want to vent, You have any questions for Armin Wandrewala? 99677 43943. That's the WhatsApp number. Easy to remember. 943 are the last three digits, and that's 94.3 our frequency. 99677 43943 WhatsApp. On Twitter as well as Facebook, you can go to the search bar. You can type HRISHIKAY. It'll pop up. You could tweet out, post in the timeline inbox. Facebook.com/radio1.mum, our official page. There again, pop your comment or your question on the timeline inbox along with your name. We're streaming audio online all across the nation. www.onecast.in, numeral 1cast.in, 94.3 on the FM band on your radio sets in Mumbai City. And only if you're not driving, statutory warning, we're streaming video live on Facebook, facebook.com/radio1.mum. Craig McLaughlin, this is Mona. Back in a couple of minutes. Craig McLaughlin, Mona, 11 minutes past 9. Armin Wandrewala from SOOR, Sanity on Our Roads is here. It's an entire fortnight on road safety, driving etiquettes, and people and citizens and groups who are trying to make a difference in this city. And we've got lots of messages from you guys. More conversation.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Okay, what I'm going to do is for those of you who haven't given your names, I'm going to just take your last four digits. So 9695, you haven't given your name. I'm listening to you talk about traffic ethics. What about the rickshaw guys? They just try to cut in and stop in the middle of the road. Same goes with the radio taxi guys, the Uber and the Ola guys. Hi, Indu Khanna here. I have observed best buses stop right at junctions or turns or after flyovers. That gives the best drivers a chance to take a full left many times and cause traffic, as best drivers never drive on the left side of the road. I agree with your thoughts. This is Pushkar. I agree with your thoughts. I also need to add about the share cabs, share autos, because the distance they ply is less and their business is to make maximum trips during rush hour. They blatantly break signals or drive on the opposite side of the road. Okay, there are lots of messages floating in, but unanimously there seems to be an opinion saying that auto guys and taxi guys, not so much private cars, are blatantly breaking the rules. And is that part of your PIL, your public interest litigation?
Oh, well, my PIL is addressed to all road users, Hrishi. And I'll say one thing here. I would like the public to be more proactive on this. Let me tell you, and this is something I personally do all the time. Now, yes, I take crazy risks. My friends tell me I'm going to get murdered or raped or something. I do not want anybody else to take the risks I take. But a conversation with the rickshawala or the taxi driver helps. Now, I have often tried to request the rickshawalas to drive safely, drive carefully, stop at signals, not to overtake rashly, etc. Ditto with the taxi drivers. And do you know what the response is? The response is, Madam, आप पहला passenger है जो हमको बोलता है कि ठीक से चलाओ. All other passengers request us, they ask us to break signals, they ask us to drive fast, they ask us to go ahead. So this is one. Friends, the buck stops with each and every one of us. I accept that rickshaw drivers drive very badly, especially the share rickshaws are a problem. But it is, if we try to educate each and every one, trust me, it works. There is a response. As far as the BST drivers are concerned, yes, that is part of my PIL. My PIL, the BST is one of the respondents. And I have been requesting the general manager to hold refresher courses for the drivers, etc. Well, I don't know if it's happening or not. They keep saying yes, but the devil is in the implementation. We've got fantastic orders in the PIL, but the implementation is the problem. As far as the BST is concerned, one problem is that they seem to have been given schedules and their work conditions are horrendous. I've been trying to tell the general manager that at least as far as the driver cabin is concerned, it is so hot and sultry there. At least have the driver cabin AC'd or proper ventilation or whatever. That's one. Second, as far as the BST drivers are concerned, they tend to stop where the bus stop is. They tend to stop almost in the middle of the road, blocking the other vehicles behind. Now, the reason for that is, again, not their fault alone. The problem is people wrongly park in and around the bus stops. If they do that, the bus cannot maneuver right up to the curb where the bus stop is. So again, now I do this at Fountain. I've seen this right outside the High Court. This happens. Problem is that the vehicle users, and please don't get away with the idea that private vehicles do not transgress. I have had pangas with Mercedes owners, with BMWs, with Audis. Everybody transgresses. The problem is that yes, the rickshawalas may be uneducated, but these fancy high-end car owners have no business transgressing. They are educated, they are rich. They should display better civic sense than they do. I'm sorry to say, everybody does not. So it is for everybody. And I am, through SOOR, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to get the public mobilized to protest. Trust me, it makes a difference. Now, I have been doing this forever. Apart from writing and speaking on these issues and from pursuing the pill in the High Court, which I appear myself, what I'm doing is, if I'm taking a walk on the road and if I see somebody breaking a signal, I try to stop them. Outside Fountain, just rather in the lanes of Fountain, just outside the High Court, the one-way rule is perpetually transgressed. Not only bikers who are the biggest offenders, but even the cars, tempo drivers, they all get in the wrong way and they block up the traffic. And it's no use. I keep protesting. I make them go back. But the response is, Madam, sab log karta hai. Now, I can't stand there the whole day and try. But my point is, when I'm doing it, I get support. Yes, everybody around supports me. But why doesn't everybody speak up? Don't wait for somebody else to speak up. Please speak up yourselves. Take this in your hands as your duty also as citizens. That's my point, Hrishi.
We're going to take some messages and come back with Armin Wandrewala from SOOR, Sanity on Our Roads. 9:18, I'm Hrishikesh. George Michael, Too Funky, 9:27. It's our One for the Road initiative. Unsung heroes who are working towards road safety, driving etiquettes. Look at what our roadside manners have become. We're honking. We're indulging in road rage. We don't follow lane discipline. Pedestrians, I mean, the constant excuse is, hey, there's no place to walk on the pavements. But even when pavements are clear, walking in the middle of the road, putting themselves and children at risk. Armin Wandrewala is from SOOR, Sanity on Our Roads. More conversation.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Thank you for all your messages. Now from WhatsApp, I'm moving to Twitter. Saurabh Shah, the solution with rash driving as far as Uber and Ola drivers is to pre-warn them about giving fewer stars. Great job, Armin Wandrewala. Mumbai badly needs sanity on our roads. And Saurabh continues to say two-wheelers riding in the wrong direction is the biggest threat on Mumbai roads. More messages. Kit Sharma, question for Armin Wandrewala. What about implementation of zebra crossing, adherence to traffic signals? Footpaths are now being used by two-wheelers to beat traffic, jaywalking on the roads, and pedestrians not using footpath where they're available. It's exactly what I said,
Yes.
Talk us through that.
Yes. So, of late, I have been traveling rather early in the mornings, and when I pass the Worli Sea Face stretch, to my horror, I find joggers and walkers walking right in the middle of the road when there is a huge pavement just by the side. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, you have to worry about people coming the wrong way, and the worst of the pedestrians is that they suddenly dart right in the middle of the road, and you're at a certain speed, within the speed limit, but still at a certain speed, and it's dark. You can't drive in the city limits, within city limits, with your high beams on. That's not right. But there is not enough lighting. That's another issue I'll talk about shortly with the BMC and the traffic police. But why do people drive in the middle of the road? And when walk in the middle of the road. Now, when I see that, I slow down, I roll down my window, and I tell them politely, please, why don't you use the pavement? Some smile, shrug, and walk on. I don't know what's the response. Some have even told me to F off. Some have answered rudely. Some have tried to answer politely. but they continue walking in the middle of the road. This happens also at Marine Drive at night. At 9:30 p.m. one day, there was a jogger jogging right in the middle of the road, and he was impacting the traffic. At 9:30, there's considerable traffic. He's a danger to himself and to others. So I do not know why this is happening, but pedestrians also need to take a call. Another problem is when pedestrians jump from the barricades put suddenly onto the road. When they do that, there are two things that can happen. One is that they lose balance. They could topple in the middle of the road. And if there is a car, people don't understand another car behind you. Of course, to save a life, you would do that also. You don't mind banging into somebody if you can save a life. But sometimes, as I said, one is visibility at nights. Second thing is the sudden impact of a body jumping from a considerable height right onto the middle of the road. He doesn't know where he'll land up. He is a great danger to himself and to motorists, because then, God forbid, if there's an eventuality, the motorist's life is just tossed for a 6, because he or she will land up in jail. And that's not right, because it's the fault of the pedestrian. So pedestrians too owe a duty to themselves and to other citizens around.
Pooja Punjabi, I know today's talk is about road safety, but I've tried to speak with private and commercial drivers to not honk so much. Yeah, it is about driver etiquettes, so that too, Pooja. They give me such bewildered looks as if they've been honking under some spell without even realizing it. Absolutely, it's a psychological problem. And Pooja continues, at Model Town in Andheri, as I was heading to the Versova metro station, my rickshawala broke the signal. I asked him, why did you do that? His response was, madam, aap jaldi pahuncho isliye. मैंने बोला क्यों मुझे जल्दी है? He said, sorry madam, आगे से नहीं करेगा. Simon Murthy, I can't agree more with Armin Wandrewala today about traffic sense. We all should own up, including me. Simon Murtati. Thank you, Simon. Samir Shah, the BMC isn't doing its part. Lots of honking and indiscipline because of bad roads, small and big potholes. The city needs a traffic czar to ride around in a rickshaw and feel the bumps, which slow things down and do something. Mumbai traffic, one for the road. Samir Shah, very, very, very valid point. Kannan Rana, Hrishikesh, you have a very enterprising guest today. Hi, Armin. I appreciate the work you're doing to get some sanity on our roads. More strength to you. Up ahead, right after this song, what SOOR is doing. And, Armin is very clear that she's going to hold the BMC accountable too. It's not just the traffic police. So we're going to come back after you two. And beautiful day. I'm Hrishikesh. You too, beautiful day. 99677 for messages. Easy to remember. The WhatsApp number 943 is our frequency, 94.3 Radio 1. 99677 On Twitter as well as Facebook, it's at HRISHIKAY. Tweet out with your name, post in the timeline inbox on Facebook with your name, facebook.com/radio1.mum, our official page. There again on the timeline inbox. Armin Wandrewala is from SOOR, Sanity on Our Roads, and she features on One for the Road, our special program trying to make this city a city of good drivers, good pedestrians. More conversation.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Yeah, Hrishi,
what is SOOR doing,
yeah,
and what is the reaction that you're getting thus far, and who do you hold accountable now?
Okay, now Hrishi, on behalf of SOOR and myself, a very big thank you to you and Radio 1 for this program, One for the Road. I think it's very much needed. Now, Sanity on Our Roads, yes, it's a citizens' movement I have started to enthuse people, all the stakeholders, all the road users, to try and do their bit towards getting sanity on our roads. Now, sanity on our roads requires two prerequisites. One is sane people using the roads, and secondly also sane roads. So, I'll come to citizens shortly, but I feel that our infrastructure is crumbling abysmally, and what is required is we need better roads. Even more importantly, we need better pavements, and we need pavements where none exist. I have been BMC's also a correspondent in the PIL, and mind you, from time to time we've approached the courts when the zebra crossings have just disappeared into the thin air. We want proper road markings. But even as important as road markings are signage. You see, the signage showing about one way or no entry or no right turn. In many cases on many roads, these signs have either broken or they have turned so as to give an absurd situation. And then when I protest, when people come the wrong way, their response is, "Madam, sorry, we didn't know this was one way. There is no sign." And when I look around, to my horror, I find there is no sign. Now, I have been trying to get the BMC to do something about the signage. My suggestion is that from each ward, one officer from the BMC, and from each police station, one traffic cop. They should do a proper recce, a sort of an audit of our roads and pavements. That is very badly required. Of late, because of falling bridges and falling buildings, they've been doing an audit of falling bridges. We also need a proper audit of each and every road, each and every street in Bombay, to make sure that the signage is in place. In Bandra, for instance, they kept on changing the one-ways and the signage is not properly in place. So signage, very important. Secondly, you see the condition of the pavements. Even as I said, I keep saying this, outside the High Court, supposed to be a posh locality.
In fact, there's one on pavements which has come up. Shantanu Patil, great interview. What about vendors using footpaths? That's the most annoying factor. Any solution to this issue? That's one aspect. But the other aspect is the quality of the pavements themselves.
Yes.
Also, the kind of cement or tar they're using to build the roads. It's obvious that contracts are being handed out to dubious characters.
A lot of corruption on this. We had ferreted out corruption even when it comes to the road markings, because the markings just don't stay. And also there is overbilling there. We have taken all that up. But as I said, we've been getting superb orders. But it's only when the people are threatened, the officers are threatened with contempt, that anybody takes action. As far as the condition of the pavements, as I said, it's so bad. Now, mind you, Hrishi, you know, I am a trekker. I'm not very young, but I trek in the Himalaya. But I find our pavements difficult to walk on. Imagine somebody very senior or a pregnant lady, etc. It is horrible, the conditions of the pavements. Another problem I find of late is that there are barricades put on the roads, either by the BMC or the traffic police, I don't know who, and they are left on the roads in such a way as to seriously cause a danger to the traffic. So these are things which the BMC needs to look into. Signages, markings, conditions of roads and pavements. As far as the hawkers is concerned, again, my dear friend, what I said, we have a responsibility. Hawkers exist because people buy from those hawkers on the roads. If people stopped buying, they wouldn't. Now, I understand this is a question of somebody's livelihood, etc. But at the same time, you can't have hawkers and squatters everywhere. It will lead to an absurd situation. So again, everything comes down to how much are we prepared to discipline ourselves for this. Traffic police, by and large, I have great respect for the work they do. Mind you, when a former traffic commissioner, he invited me, in fact, he took me to the traffic headquarters, to the control room, and there are huge screens put up of the camera feedback from the worst junctions in Bombay. Trust me, Hrishi, my head spun. I felt I was going to get dizzy. It is so bad. Now, as far as the traffic police is concerned, two things, friends. And about this app also somebody spoke. Yes, I'll come to that in a minute. One is that the traffic police, by and large, are doing a wonderful job, but they are woefully short-staffed. Woefully. There is just not enough manpower. Now, just imagine a scenario where every second person starts committing murder. Do you imagine the police would be able to keep up? No. So this is what's happening with the road conditions. Every second person is transgressing and breaking signals, etc., breaking the road rules. So how can the police cope? They can't. Which is why I've enthused SOOR, and what I want is, I would like volunteers. I have requested this, I have suggested this. Don't waste too much of your time. But if you can spare half a day in a week, or even a couple of hours, or even 1 hour, get together with 2-3 friends, because yes, doing it alone could be dangerous. Man junctions, try and enforce the rules. One is halting behind zebra crossings, stopping at red signals, and very important, not to enter the no entries, not to transgress the one ways, and yes, extremely important, not to drive on the pavements. This is something I have been protesting again and again and again. people driving on pavements, and people parking. This has happened even in a place like Pedder Road. Mind you, I have gone to the extent of going up to the society. I find out which flat the car belongs to. I have gone up to the flats and protested.
Wow.
I've spent about 15-20 minutes of my time, but when I can spare it, I have done that. And let me tell you that these so-called rich people, the responses have not been good. The responses are, who the hell are you to come and do this? So then I said, okay, if that's your response, I'll show you. I rang up the commissioner, he sent somebody, and yes, the next visit to their house was by the police.
Serves them right.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to take some messages and come back for a last leg of conversation with Armin Wandrewala from SOOR. Just go to Facebook, go to the search bar, type SOOR, capital letters, Sanity on our roads. So it's SOOR Sanity on our roads. It's a group because she says on a page anybody can come on. Here at least she can control it. And if you just say join the group, she approves almost everybody who wants to join. We're going to speak to her one last time after a couple of minutes.
94.3.
Upgrade to India's #1 international radio network. Upgrade to 94.3 Radio 1.
And yeah, please don't indulge in the Kiki challenge. That's absolutely imperative. Okay, last few messages before we sign off on one for the road to this particular slot. Basically, driver pedestrian etiquettes and road safety is what we're talking about all fortnight. Anshuman Kakkar on Facebook. I know someone who approached MMRDA for material used internationally that could be used in our roads that would lead to roads not breaking down every now and then and smooth roads for years together. Obviously, MMRDA did not entertain such people because of corruption. Is there a way SOOR could get such material implemented in our roads and a fair chance to approach the non-corrupt officials if they exist?
Well, SOOR, we could try, but perhaps through the pill I can try. So whoever has such information, I request them to get in touch with SOOR, put in a comment there, and I myself am on Facebook. You could send me a private message too. Maybe we could meet, interact, and I could hand over this information to the court, and maybe through the court we could get this implemented. I could also do it through my own relationship with the traffic police and the BMC. I can try, definitely.
Armin Wandrewala, it's W-A,
Yeah.
Wandrewala, you on Facebook. Pradeep Nagpal, why can't we just get one corporate to handle infrastructure in Bombay? Let the BMC hand over the money they have to spend yearly to that corporate. Raj, quality of pavement is the reason we need to run on the road in the morning, biggest reason. Nilesh Mahimkar, I got charged for a U-turn where there was no such sign. There was no U-turn sign. I wrote to the grievance. I got an auto reply. I visited them. I was assured don't pay fine as they would see on system. Eventually was told you break the law, so pay. So no justice there. Your last 4 digits are 9695. I also feel there should be a number where we can call for such people who are breaking signals and breaking rules, where you can send them a picture or vehicle number. Armin will just talk about that. There is an app. It doesn't work. Hemant, when people overtake us from the left, many times it's not their fault. It's us who's in the wrong lane. We need to move in the left lane to allow faster moving traffic to overtake from the right. Most of the people I've spoken to don't even know this basic rule of how to figure out the correct lane to drive in. Sagar here, don't you think one of the root causes is handing out licenses like candy? In the UAE, driving tests comprise of highway driving, city driving, reversing, parking, hill holding, with negative marking for even checking the rear view mirror before putting on the seat belt. Very well said. Anand B. Surange, Hrishi and Armin, when you are talking about people starting early on signals, I was standing on a signal at Vashi. People were honking behind me, though the light was red. Not to blame everybody, but every now and then all of us do it. I don't think fines are a solution. India is now a rich country. A person who spends 5 lakhs on a car can definitely spend 500 rupees on a fine. Shaming is the only way to control. Deflate the tires of those going on the wrong side. For speeding, let people just wait at one place for 30 minutes. Let signal jumpers manage the signal with a placard. I jumped signal around the neck for an hour and or so. Anand B. Surange. I agree with Armin Wandrewala regarding the public interest litigation on traffic, says Sabita. Auto rickshaws are a nuisance. They can turn on a 5 rupee coin and honking by them. Two-wheelers and cars is another story. Even when there is no pedestrian or vehicle, they honk with the loudest sound, disturbing the peace and quiet. I've seen a Mercedes stopping in the middle of a busy road only to spit pan out. A suggestion is that when granting a license, a crash course on road etiquette should also be given. Jay Daga, don't know the reason. Why do traffic cops not be at their signal? They hide 20 to 30 feet after the signal signal, then catch the offenders. There are two issues. One is finding no cop, few drivers zoom across. Second is traffic cop stop the violator right in the middle of the road, causing congestion. My query is, has this been highlighted to the Mumbai Traffic Commissioner or part of the PIL? A last leg of conversation with Armin.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Radio 1.
So what do you want to sign off with?
Yeah, well, I'll try and encompass all these queries to the extent I can. As far as the app is concerned, two things. One is, yes, technology is still an issue here, or the app is still in the infancy. There will be glitches. There are glitches. That said, there is not enough manpower with the police. I have been trying to get the government to give more manpower and more funds for infrastructure. That's not happening. The government needs to do it. It's a bit, guys, lobby, ALM's lobby, and get the government, get your votes to provide more manpower and funds for the police. As far as now I have another issue to talk about, and that's the density of traffic. There are two prongs to this. One is that there is no traffic discipline even when there is no density. That is one. So even at 6 a.m. when I drive, as I said, sometimes I find people coming the wrong way, people jogging. Yes, pavements are bad, but that doesn't mean you jog on the road. Please take up with your local police station or your local BMC wards. Get the pavements. Get proactive, guys. Okay, that's one. Secondly, as far as density is concerned, I personally I just hassle friends and I take lifts to the extent possible. So even one car less on the road means something. So try and do this. Take lifts, carpool. People sometimes go, 3 people going from the same building to the same destination. Why do you need to take 3 different cars? Try and carpool, guys. Try and adjust timings a little. Also, to the extent possible, try and use public transport. I have rediscovered both buses and trains. Yes, they are not the best. They don't always work, but they are better than we imagine. So give them a chance on the routes you can. Okay. So better use of public transport, and yes, we will liaise with the BEST to improve the routes and the buses, etc. So all this will go to a long way. Now, as far as honking is concerned, let me talk about honking. Honking sometimes becomes necessary to avert an accident if the person from the left is trying to butt in wrongfully and cause an accident, or to warn a pedestrian who is about to jump onto the road from the barricade. So honking sometimes is necessary because of lack of lane discipline. Lane discipline, people don't seem to understand how very important lane discipline is, and that the traffic would move both smoother and faster if there would be lane discipline. Another problem I find, and this is most prevalent at the stretch with the exit to the C-Link on SV Road. Nobody stops. So the traffic coming from the C-Link and the traffic coming from Mahim Causeway get into a snarl, and sometimes the snarl is as much as 15-20 minutes stationary at that juncture, and cars piling up well onto the link itself. Highly dangerous. It's no sense traveling over the link in record time if you get stuck at the exits, both at Worli and at Bandra, though this seems to happen more at Bandra because there is totally lack of discipline, and unfortunately there are no cops there, and cops who have been there have been beaten up. So this is another thing. Friends, people are getting aggressive with the cops. People are getting absolutely aggressive with other drivers. You see as I said, you see the aggro on the faces. Let driving be a more pleasurable experience if only people would follow traffic rules. As far as the RTO is concerned, yes, RTO is also a respondent in the pill, and one of the prayers is that the RTO should be more discriminating in granting licenses, and that the licenses should not be just given away for the asking. Also, the nexus between the driving schools and the RTO, there is corruption, no doubt about it. I have suggested that the driving test should be not only more stringent, but there has to be a viva. There has to be a viva, there has to be a recognition of road signs. All this is required, but it's not done. The driving test hardly lasts 5 minutes. So yes, the RTO is also part of the pill. We are working towards that. But all this also requires political will and the government will.
Armin, thanks so much for your time.
Not
We've got
at
a
all.
wrap and keep up the great work. Okay?
Thanks.
Cheers.
And all I'll end with saying is drive safe, walk safe, spread SOOR. Thank you very much, Hrishi.
Messages and back.
94.3.
Upgrade to India's #1 international radio network. Upgrade to 94.3 Radio 1.